Peter David Schiff is an American entrepreneur, author and financial commentator. Schiff is CEO and Chief Global Strategist of Euro-Pacific Capital Incorporated, a broker-dealer based in Westport, Connecticut, as well as founder and chairman of SchiffGold, a precious metals dealer based in Manhattan. Schiff has appeared as a guest on financial television shows and been quoted in major print publications. He is host of The Peter Schiff Show, an audio show broadcast on terrestrial and internet radio, and was formerly host of an internet podcast called Wall Street Unspun, now archived as podcasts. Schiff acquired significant internet fame for correctly predicting in 2005 to 2007 the collapse in U.S. housing prices that would occur in 2008 and the global financial crisis that would ensue. In 2010, Schiff ran in the Republican primary for the United States Senate seat in Connecticut, but lost to Linda McMahon. Schiff is known for his bearish views on the U.S. economy and U.S. dollar, and his bullish views on commodities, foreign stocks and foreign currencies. Schiff also voices strong support for the Austrian school of economic thought, first introduced to him by his father Erwin. Early life and education: Schiff was born in New Haven, Connecticut. His father is Erwin Schiff, a prominent figure in the U.S. tax protester movement, who is currently serving a 13-year sentence for tax evasion in federal prison. Peter Schiff was educated at Beverly Hills High School and obtained a Bachelor of Science with a double major in finance and accounting from UC Berkeley in 1987. Schiff resides in Weston, Connecticut. He lives in a 9,300-square-foot mansion he purchased in 2009. The estate includes 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a pool house, private tennis court, pavilion, and sunroom. During his Senate run, Schiff disclosed assets of at least $64.7 million. Financial career: Schiff began his career as a stockbroker at Ссchiff and Lehman Brothers Brokerage. In 1996, Schiff and a partner acquired an inactive brokerage firm, renamed it Euro-Pacific Capital, and began operating it from a small office in Los Angeles, relocating the firm to Darien, Connecticut in 2005. Euro-Pacific Capital Incorporated is currently headquartered in Westport, Connecticut, with offices in Scottsdale, Arizona, Boca Raton, Florida, Newport Beach, California, Los Angeles and New York City. It specializes in non-U.S. markets and securities. Economic and public policy views: in an August 2006 interview, Schiff said, "The United States is like the Titanic and I am here with the lifeboat trying to get people to leave the ship. I see a real financial crisis coming for the United States." On December 31, 2006, in a telecast debate on Fox News, Schiff forecast that, "What's going to happen in 2007 is that real estate prices, which had peaked at the end of 2005, are going to come crashing back down to earth." In his 2007 book Crash Proof, Schiff wrote that United States economic policies were fundamentally unsound. Since then, he has stated many times that, without a change in U.S. government economic policy, there will be hyperinflation in the U.S. and that the imbalance between the amount of goods the U.S. consumed and what it produced would eventually lead to problems for the U.S. economy. As a remedy, Schiff favored increased personal savings and production, which he said would stimulate economic growth. Schiff cited the U.S.'s low personal savings rate as one of the causes of its transformation from the world's largest creditor nation in the 1970s to the largest debtor nation in the year 2000. Schiff attributed the low savings rate to what he asserts are high inflation and artificially low interest rates set by the Federal Reserve. In 2008 and 2010 appearances on Fox News and financial news network CNBC, Schiff mentioned factors such as speculation and the absence of lending standards as factors which had contributed to the housing crisis which began in 2007. On December 13, 2007, in an interview on the Bloomberg TV show Open Exchange, Schiff further added that he felt that the crisis would extend to the credit card lending industry, and called consumer credit a cancer on the free market economy. Schiff said that interest rates would rise, the dollar would collapse, and that all classes of dollar-denominated assets would fall in value relative to non-U.S. assets. He predicted a huge crisis, and the blow-up of credit card finance in 2008. with the result that consumer credit card spending limits would be slashed by card issuers, and said that Americans would no longer be able to make purchases using their credit card lines. Referring to the housing market, Schiff went on to criticize the policy of the Bush administration to vilify and threaten the lenders for reckless borrowing. Following this observation, it was soon reported that defaults when lenders essentially give up hope of ever being repaid and write off the debt, rose 18% to almost $961 million in October, according to Securities and Exchange Commission filings by 17 large credit card trusts examined by the Associated Press. In a March 2009 speech, Schiff said that it would be impossible for the U.S. debt to China to be repaid unless the U.S. dollar's value is substantially diluted through inflation. In September 2009, Schiff said that he foresaw gold at over $5,000 an ounce in the next couple years, and that the stock market rally which began that year was a rally in a bear market. Later in November of that year, Schiff said that 5 stocks he picked for Fortune magazine in January 2009 were up collectively 360%. Peter Schiff believes that minimum wage laws hurt the poorest and least skilled by pricing them out of the job market and reducing their opportunities to acquire the skills which would make them more employable. In March 2011, he stated that the U.S. should abolish the corporate income tax and the home mortgage interest deduction on personal income tax. In August 2012, Schiff criticized the Ryan budget plan, saying it is too little too late. Referring to Ryan's plan to save Medicare, Schiff said, "Why would we want to preserve it? It's a Ponzi scheme. What we really need is real Medicare cuts today for people who are already on the system." On October 25, 2012, Peter Schiff said that the price of gold, which was then around $1,700 per ounce, would rise to $5,000 per ounce within the following 2 years. On April 16, 2013, Schiff told a CNBC interviewer that gold may go to $1,000 an ounce, but that if it does, the price will present a buying opportunity because it will subsequently rise to $2,000 per ounce. In June he claimed a vicious gold rally was coming, the biggest in history. In August he reiterated that a spectacular gold rally was coming. And, in September, he claimed that, whatever the Fed did, gold would rally. In October, however, outflows from gold investment funds soared, and, in December 2013, a year after the Fed announced the start of its tapering of monetary stimulus, euro gold futures lost 2.7%, prices having dropped by almost 30% over the year to a 3-year low on December 19, where they remained on course to clock their first decline in 13 years, and were kicked into 2014 with a dropping. Goldman Sachs predicted gold would grind lower over the course of 2014. As indeed it did, after a brief rise after unforeseeable geopolitical events, the metal began slumping back to its New Year lows, hitting new multi-year lows relative to the Standard & Poor's 500 index, before wiping out all gains for 2014 at the end of October and hitting 4-year lows in November. Responses: Schiff's warnings of a coming economic collapse earned him the moniker Dr. Doom, but later articles in Businessweek and other business news journals reported that Schiff more or less accurately predicted the financial crisis of 2007 2010, while nearly all macroeconomists failed to foresee the recession despite plenty of warning signs. Schiff's YouTube channel video Peter Schiff Was Right became popular in late 2008 and 2009. It contained a compilation of his appearances on various financial TV news programs between 2005 and 2007. In January 2009, economic blogger and investment advisor Michael Shidlock wrote, "I have talked with many who claim they have invested with Schiff and are down anywhere from 40% to 70% in 2008. Later that week an article appeared in the Wall Street Journal reporting that Schiff's broker-dealer firm had advised its clients to bet that the dollar would weaken significantly and that foreign stocks would outpace their U.S. peers. However, the dollar later advanced against most currencies, magnifying the losses from foreign stocks. In response to Shidlock's criticism, Schiff wrote, "To examine the effectiveness of my investment strategy immediately following a major correction by looking only at those accounts who adopted the strategy at the previous peak is unfair and distortive. In December 2012, Schiff wrote an article entitled Ms. SchiffGold Exposed, in which he criticized SchiffGold for selective use of short-term data in the financial crisis and argued that his investment strategy had made strong returns over the long run. Schiff's views have been criticized several times by economist Paul Krugman. In October 2010, Krugman wrote, "I keep being told that Peter Schiff has been right about everything. So, how's that hyperinflation thing going?" In December 2011, Krugman quoted Peter Schiff's statement from December 2009, "I know inflation is going to get worse in 2010. Whether ita unregistered trademark is going to run out of control or ita unregistered trademark is going to take until 2011 or 2012, but I know we unregistered trademark going to have a major currency crisis coming soon. ita unregistered trademark is going to dwarf the financial crisis and ita unregistered trademark is going to send consumer prices absolutely ballistic, as well as interest rates and unemployment." Krugman noted that inflation had instead remained low, and he concluded that Schiff's type of economic model is all wrong since it predicts that a tripling of the monetary base, such as had just occurred, must lead to dire effects on the price level. In January 2012, Schiff stated that a U.S. debt crisis and high inflation had merely been delayed by government policy. In November 2012 and again in November 2014, Krugman repeated his criticisms of Schiff's predictions of high inflation and rising interest rates in America. Political career: Schiff was an economic advisor to Ron Paul's 2008 presidential campaign. In support of Paul's economic revitalization plan, Schiff said, "We need a plan that stimulates savings and production, not more of the reckless borrowing and consumption that got us into this mess in the first place. Ron Paul's plan is the only one that amounts to a step in the right direction. If you want meaningful change for the better that I say Ron Paul is the only candidate capable of delivering it." In 2008, Schiff also endorsed Murray Sabrin for the U.S. Senate seat in New Jersey. In 2008, Schiff said that he supported the reduction of government economic regulation, and was concerned that President Obama's administration might increase such regulation. Schiff says that the economic crisis of the late 2000s provides an opportunity to transition from borrowing and spending, to saving and producing. He is critical of the U.S. government's efforts to ease the pain with economic stimulus packages and bailouts. According to Schiff, the U.S. government's approach of replacing legitimate savings with a printing press could result in hyperinflation. 2010 U.S. Senate campaign. In December 2008, some Connecticut citizens created a website encouraging Schiff to campaign against incumbent Senator Christopher Dodd. Approximately 5,000 people made campaign contributions using the website. On February 21, 2009, a money bomb raised over $20,000 for Schiff's campaign. In a May 2009 video blog, Schiff said that he was seriously considering a run for the Senate, and when questioned by a Washington Post reporter, he said the chance of him entering politics was better than 50-50. In June 2009, Schiff commissioned a poll of likely voters which indicated that he trailed Dodd in popularity by 4 percentage points. On July 9, 2009, Schiff launched an exploratory committee and an official campaign website. In a campaign speech in Hamden, Connecticut on December 3, 2009, Schiff said, "Unlike everybody else, I pretty much predicted everything that would happen in 2008 in specific and exact detail, and that somebody needs to be in Washington to prevent the next round of government stimulus from taking place, because that will be the end of it. That will be the toxin that completely destroys the economy." After giving some hints on The Daily Show, Schiff officially announced his candidacy for the Republican nomination on September 17, 2009, during the MSNBC Morning Joe show. By October 2009, Schiff had received more than 10,000 donations and many emails from around the world. Schiff's campaign received endorsements from Ron Paul and Steve Forbes. At the May 2010 Republican convention, Linda McMahon received the most delegate votes but not enough to prevent an August primary election. U.S. Representative Rob Simmons received more than the required 15% of the total votes necessary to force the primary. Schiff then collected the 400 signatures necessary to be listed on the August 2010 Republican primary ballot. McMahon won the primary. The general election was won by the Democratic Party primary winner, Richard Blumenthal. Schiff did not endorse McMahon in the 2012 Republican primary, instead endorsing her opponent, former Congressman Christopher Shays. Shays lost the primary to McMahon. Social issues: a libertarian Republican, Schiff supports same-sex marriage, 3, abortion rights, 4, and opposes the war on drugs, 5. Broadcasting. From 2005 to 2010, Schiff hosted a weekly shortwave radio show named Wall Street Unspun, which featured commentary on financial market activity. From October 2010 to September 2014, he hosted the Peter Schiff Show, broadcast on Internet and terrestrial radio. The show featured commentary on market activity, current events and economic philosophy. It had many notable guests including Ron Paul, Niall Ferguson, Dennis Kucinich, Rick Santelli and John McCain. The Peter Schiff Show guest hosts included Thomas Woods, Neeraj Chowdhury, Stefan Molyneux, Larry Elder, and Andrew Schiff. According to his brother and public relations director, Andrew Schiff, Peter frequently appeared on CNBC, Fox News and Bloomberg to voice his opinions on the U.S. economy and financial markets. However, after the financial crisis, his bookings dropped by 85% on these networks. During a January 2014 appearance on The Daily Show, Schiff remarked that the mentally retarded might be willing to work for $2 an hour if there was no minimum wage, for which he received widespread criticism. According to Schiff, The Daily Show took his remarks out of context by cutting and editing remarks made in the context of a 4-hour interview. Intellectually disabled people are currently exempt from the minimum wage, a fact which Mr. Schiff says he mentioned during the interview but was edited out by The Daily Show. In August 2012, Peter Schiff replaced G. Gordon Liddy in the 10 a.m. 12 p.m. time slot on the Radio America Network Internet broadcast. Books. Peter Schiff is the author of 6 books published by John Wiley & Sons. His book, Crash Proof 2.0, appeared on both the New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller lists. Crash Proof: How to Profit from the Coming Economic Collapse, February 2007, ISBN 978-0-470-04360-81, The Little Book of Bull Moves in Bear Markets, How to Keep Your Portfolio Up When the Market is Down, 2008, ISBN 978-0-470-38378-02, Crash Proof 2.0 How to Profit from the Economic Collapse, 2nd edition, September 2009, ISBN 978-0-470-47453-23, The Little Book of Bull Moves, Updated and Expanded, How to Keep Your Portfolio Up When the Market is Up, Down, or Sideways, 2010, ISBN 0-470-64399-44, How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes, 2010, ISBN 970-470-52670-55, The Real Crash, America's Coming Bankrupt Year. Euro, How to Save Yourself and Your Country, 2012, ISBN 978-1-250-00447-5, References. External links: SchiffGold, Peter Schiff's channel on YouTube.